And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
This morning, satellite image here showing at 11 a.m. Sunday morning. A lot of moisture coming northward and streaming across southern Alaska here, right up into the eastern interior. More clouds back to the northwest, into the Brooks Range, the eastern Arctic coast, kind of angling down into the Yukon Delta here across the Seward Peninsula. And moisture out here to the west with the next system out there, putting that into motion. You can see everything kind of moving northeastward here with this front. Another development down here south of the Alaska Peninsula. We'll be spreading more rain northward over tonight and into tomorrow into south central Alaska again as this system slowly shifts off to the southeast. Otherwise, nothing but high pressure here for the southeast coast, western Canada. So all this moisture rides up and over the top of that. Got some areas of low clouds, though, over areas of the southeast coast. And that'll result in some marginal VFR down that way tomorrow morning. Otherwise, IFR right up along the eastern North Gulf Coast and mostly out of Prince William Sound. So marginal VFR there up to the Alaska Range with VFR Cook Inlet, western Kenai Peninsula, down into Shelikof Strait, all the way out to the southwest coast, VFR, Seward Peninsula, Kotzebue Sound, northwest coast, but IFR for the Arctic coast, and IFR out over the Bering Sea, west of Nunivak Island and south of St. Lawrence Island, but covering the Pribilof Islands, Fox Islands, marginal, the remainder of the Aleutians, IFR, and for the afternoon, good VFR in the interior, all the way up to the Arctic coast there. But marginal VFR, next warm front spreading moisture northward here with the next surge of moisture coming up in that southerly flow. So IFR, Kodiak Island, up along the Kenai Peninsula, spreading into western Prince William Sound there to Portage and Whittier, those areas, but marginal VFR for Valdez with IFR staying west of Yakutat, marginal VFR along the southeast coast, a couple areas IFR out here over the Bering Sea. And then for Tuesday, marginal VFR across St. Lawrence Island, and not too bad here for the northwestern Arctic coast, but marginal for the east side there. North slope all the way down in the Tanana Valley, Kuskokwim, and Yukon valleys as well, right out to the southwest coast. Looks good with VFR. IFR here for the Aleutians, up to about Nikolsky, otherwise Dutch Harbor, call it marginal VFR, with mostly Alaska Peninsula looking good with VFR. And for the afternoon, a swath of marginal VFR here from the northeast interior all the way down into the Kuskokwim Valley to Cook Inlet, Kodiak Island with some IFR in the Barrens, right up along the North Gulf Coast. Marginal VFR for the afternoon Tuesday for the southeast coast. IFR out here for the Aleutians. Bering Sea, marginal VFR, so some improvement there with the southeast Bering looking pretty good. And for passes, Anatuvik and Adigan, look for VFR flying through both passes tomorrow. Lake Clark and Merrill look marginal as well as windy, rainy, and Isabel, marginal VFR. Mintasta, same forecast, marginal conditions. And for Tanita, marginal VFR. Portage, IFR, especially on the eastern approach. And Chilkoot and White, VFR. And for the, the freezing levels here, 2,000 to 4,000 feet, so got some cooler air edging eastward, putting pretty good gradient here right across southern and eastern Alaska there, but up to 14,000 feet holding here over the southeast coast. And icing, again, more moisture coming up in that flow from the south-southwest, so considerable moderate rime icing, Kodiak Island, up into Kamishak Bay, Kachemak Bay, right up into western Prince William Sound, and into the southern Copper River Basin, and out to the west, another round of some icing with that next system coming eastward, sliding in toward the eastern Aleutians. And the jet stream for tomorrow, southeast flow on the light side, and then taking a turn to the south and southeast here with the main jet 85 knots around Togiak, up to 100 and 130 knots over the northeast interior, and the strongest jet here south of the Aleutians. And at 9,000 feet, 55 knot winds out of the south. They're coming up across, the Aleutian Range and up Cook Inlet, 45 knots for the Manuska Valley, 40 knots there over the southeast interior, lighter here over the western part of the state. And for 3,000 feet, light winds for the Panhandle North Gulf Coast, all of interior Alaska. Looking at southerlies here at about 40 knots, coming up close to Kodiak Island, but then dying off over southern Cook Inlet. Out to the west, stronger winds at 3,000 feet, 55-knot winds in advance of that frontal boundary out that way. And as far as turbulence goes, with those winds, look for moderate turbulence here from, about Adak eastward across the eastern Aleutians. Also for Kodiak Island, looking pretty smooth or nothing of significance anywhere else around the state.